Welcome to Escape Plans by Global Escapes. We know that constantly changing rules and regulations can be very frustrating and overwhelming. Our advisors provide stress-free travel planning based on the latest information worldwide. Having a vacation date on your calendar will bring back hope and optimism. All attendees today are muted in listen-only mode. If you have any questions, please use the chat feature. We'll do our best to answer these questions as we go along. But rest assured, if we don't get your question answered, you can reach out to us. I believe the phone number and email address is already in the chat. And we definitely will get back to you and let you know some answers to your questions. Today, we are very excited to be joined by a couple of representatives from Delta Airlines. Thank you so much, Scott and Stephen, for joining us today. Scott Jordan is the Managing Director of Global Sales for Delta Airlines. He's responsible for developing business opportunities and overseeing sales and marketing initiatives. And over the past 5 years, Scott has been influential in expanding the Delta footprint along the East Coast. Scott began his career with Delta in 2006, and he holds a BA in finance from SUNY. Tell me again how to say this. Geneseo?
Geneseo's perfect.
Okay. I have a friend that went to SUNY Binghamton, so I'm familiar with SUNY. An MBA in finance and marketing from Rochester University and Simon School of Business. Outside of work, Scott enjoys spending time with his family in Scarsdale, New York, where he resides with his wife and 2 sons. Stephen, who's also with us today, is a Delta Airlines Senior Account Executive for Global Sales. He's responsible for developing business partnerships with the Mid-Atlantic corporate and agency partners. After graduating college, Stephen began his career on Capitol Hill, interestingly enough. Subsequently, a major national and participating with a major national party. Scott joined the airline industry shortly thereafter, and you still reside in DC, I believe. And what I love is that we have a fellow Southerner, maybe, from Auburn University, and he is the Wharton School and Darden School of Business. Lots of business experience here. Stephen enjoys also traveling the world, boating on the Chesapeake Bay, and staying civically engaged. I think we've all spent a lot of time in our communities lately since we've been so homebound and not able to travel the world. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. We really have done a number of these webinars to really just kind of connect with our clients and our community to let them know what's going on in the world. You know, it's constantly changing. And what we're starting to see over the last couple of weeks is that travel is picking up. Things are beginning to get a little busier, and we are beginning to be bombarded with questions. So we really hope you guys can help us answer some of these questions today. So, you know, the first thing I wanted to ask is, how does it feel to be working with such an amazing company? I mean, really, Delta has been such a leader over the last 12 months. Give me kind of a quick brief overview, maybe, Scott, to let me know what you guys have been up to. I know there has been a lot going on behind the scenes at Delta.
No, thank you so much, Tiffany, and hello out there. We are thrilled and humbled to be here. Global Escapes is a great partner, and love that we're able to be in front of our mutual customers. Maybe before we jump in, Tiffany, I do have one thing that my bio probably needs to be updated, in that it says that I enjoy spending time with my family. I don't know about you, but we have spent so much darn family time that I'm actually ready to get out and start traveling a little bit more. And I think if my wife is listening to me, she would certainly agree, and is probably packing my suitcase as we speak. So, but there is optimism out there, and I love that. But to answer your question, I think we have been busy, and it's crazy to think that really almost a year ago in a few days is when we kind of shut this travel industry down, or at least muted it for a while. But there's been a lot of activity behind the scenes, and I think our guiding principle for the past year, and it will be beyond, is what we say people over profits. So it's making sure that we are taking care of our people, and that could be our employees for obvious reasons, but it's all of you. It's our traveling public. Examples of that is we're the only carrier right now that is blocking middle seats, and we have committed through the end of April to do that. And why? It's peace of mind. It's just easier. People know what to expect when they get on a Delta flight, right? It's going to be clean. It's going to be spotless. We electromagnetic spray. It's really an interesting experience. And for those of you that haven't flown, I highly recommend it, because honestly, now is the time to do it. It's a little bit quieter. It's a little bit easier. Honestly, people are a lot nicer. They recognize that we're all in this together, patient. I've probably have taken 20 trips over the past, 8-9 months, and all of them have been fantastic. So highly encouraged. So it's really that focus on the people and our customers, and having health experts guide us, right? A year ago, if you would have asked me, Tiffany, does Delta have a chief medical officer? I would have shrugged and said, I have no idea why we would. And a month ago, we introduced Dr. Ting from the Mayo Clinic, who is now our chief medical officer. And what's great about that is now Dr. Ting literally reports into Ed, our CEO, and he's the voice at the table that says, you know what, maybe like middle seats, we're taking a financial hit by blocking middle seats, no doubt. But Dr. Ting is saying, there's a health, this is the people first mantra. There's a reason that we're doing this. It's easier to get on the plane. You never have to worry about overhead bin space. It's easier to get off the plane. Like, we're doing all of these things, and it's the layers of protection that we are focused on, because I think Dr. Ting says it best. He feels more comfortable getting on an airplane than he does at the grocery store. And that is the level of cleanliness that people expect. And again, I think there are a lot of positives. I'm a glass half full guy, but there are a lot of positives that are going to come out of this. And one of those is our aircraft will never be cleaner going forward. This is just who we are. I think Delta is known for our operational reliability. Cleanliness is just going to be part of that. And our operations won't suffer, but neither will our cleanliness. That is our focus, is that's what customers expect. That's what you all expect. And that's what we need to deliver consistently. So it has been a busy 12 months, but I think it's that North Star of putting people over profits that really has been guiding us.
Well, it is very reassuring to see, and I will agree with you. I think I've traveled a couple of times in the last couple of months myself. The patience and the just consideration, the flight attendants and the captain, were showing as people were boarding the plane, and it just really, it was like you said, it's like we're all in this together. We've all got to kind of just show a little bit of grace and patience. I know you guys have got some slides that you want to share with us, so maybe we can look at some of those. And then I've got some more questions I definitely want to run through, but some of these questions will get answered, I think, by the slides. So let's see if we can get those shared. So the care standard, I love this. Like you said, Dr. Ting coming on board, but I think even before he was brought on board, the level of care that Delta was really putting into the cleaning the planes and spacing people out, the boarding process. Honestly, I think we're all going to be agreeing that probably some of these things maybe should have been in place a long time ago, but it really has created a much more seamless process, I think, to board the plane from the back going forward and so forth. I'll let you kind of talk through these slides, but yeah.
Yeah, and see, Tiffany, you have been paying attention when you travel, and you've noticed these changes, which is fantastic. And we've got a great video that'll maybe kind of unpack this curb to claim as we talk about that we'll outline. But you're right. I think that it's allowed us to look at our processes, right? A couple examples is boarding back to front. It makes sense, right? Boarding in zones. where your throughput is a little bit more efficient, and you're not waiting for people in the aisle to before you can walk by. So there's efficiencies there. It's investing in technology where we're looking. I've got my phone right here. You know, how you're going to use our app is going to be different in the next 12 months, where touchless, I think people are wanting. So, you know, how could you go from your entire experience without really engaging or touching another human, right? Some people are going to want that connectivity, and we need to offer that. But your business traveler that is used to traveling, they just want to go from point A to point B as quickly and as efficiently as possible. So how can we use the app and partner with Clear so that we're using facial recognition to get through security, facial recognition to board an aircraft, to bag drop. I think what sounded like science fiction 2 years ago, we're actually implemented, and it's live now in test cases in certain airports. So it's pretty remarkable how we are going to continue to evolve, not just as Delta, but as an industry. And I think that's a good thing, because it's that constant improvement and that continuous evolution, and it's exciting to be part of. And so, Stephen, maybe we jump in, and we've got the video that maybe will kind of articulate some of the things that we're talking about, and then maybe we can just just follow up with some questions. I've got a couple more points, and want to make sure that we're addressing what's on everyone's mind.
Okay, let's see if we can share that video.
We've got a 50-50 shot right now.
We've got it. We've got it.
I always joke that we can get planes off the ground, but for the love of us, we just can't figure out videos sometimes.
You know, the technology is just amazing. Here we go. Are we seeing it?
Hi, I'm Jeffrey, a Delta Redcoat. I know it's probably been a little while since you've been on a plane, but don't worry. I'll be walking you through all the steps that Delta's implementing to keep you safe while on board and at the airport. We call it Delta Care Standard. Delta Care Standard means you'll experience safer travels in 3 layers when you fly with us now. 1, the highest standards of cleanliness. 2, more space. And 3, safer service. These layers are important because there is no single solution. We're consulting closely with medical experts to develop Delta Care Standard. And we go beyond what's required to make sure we provide you the safest travel experience possible. At every step of your journey, you'll see Delta Care Standard in place. Every flight, every day, everywhere. A day or 2 before your flight, you'll receive an email from Delta with the latest information on what to expect, a checklist outlining how to prepare for your trip, and a link to an infographic detailing all the measures we put in place for your care. We also recommend downloading the Fly Delta app, where you can get your digital boarding pass to reduce touch points at the airport and receive important notifications throughout your trip. First off, remember your mask. They are required to be worn at the airport and on board the aircraft. Upon arriving at the airport, if you have to check a bag, we place floor decals throughout the waiting area so you can distance yourself from other passengers while in line. We've installed plexiglass barriers at all counters, and we're cleaning kiosks and surfaces throughout the day at check-in, Delta Sky Clubs, and gate areas. You'll also find hand sanitizing stations placed conveniently throughout the airport. These added layers of protection provide a consistently safer experience throughout your journey. When you get to security, you'll find TSA officers are now required to wear masks and gloves. They'll also ask you to scan your own boarding pass. If you are a Clear member, you can verify your identity using your eyes, enabling a touchless verification experience at security. You can head to tsa.gov to find the latest information on any changes happening. Some changes, like being able to bring more hand sanitizer, are a plus. Some of our clubs remain open. We have consolidated clubs, discontinued shower service, and we've switched from a buffet-style food option to a pre-packaged food option. At Delta Sky Club and our gate areas, you'll find additional measures of cleanliness, more space, and safer service methods in place. We're implementing one of the most important cleanliness factors you can't see. We're using an electrostatic sprayer to sanitize the aircraft. We spray and sanitize all surfaces, including overhead bins and lavatories thoroughly before every single flight. Don't worry, it's immediately safe to breathe afterwards. Every night, we spray and sanitize the jet bridge and gate areas, and we're expanding it to catering and baggage claim. Our teams wipe down and sanitize high-touch surfaces and lavatories. The Delta difference means we are committed to these cleaning measures now and always. Flight attendants and gate agents walk the cabin to spot check. And if it doesn't meet Delta's new standard for cleanliness, we are empowered to call the cleaners back onto the aircraft. Before you board, the Fly Delta app notifies you when the extensive cleaning of your aircraft is complete. As you board the aircraft, you'll find that we are boarding in smaller groups. We'll start at the rear of the aircraft and move forward to reduce contact in the aisle. At Delta, we're committed to giving you more personal space on board, reducing cabin capacity to 50% in first class and 60% in main cabin. Families will be able to sit together on board if they choose to. You'll be offered a snack bag, including a bottle of water, snacks, and a hand sanitizing wipe or gel pack. It's part of our overall effort to deliver service safely. As you settle in your seat, please let your flight attendant know if you have any concerns. We still offer world-class entertainment, so you can relax, plug in, and tune out. And you can stay connected with Wi-Fi access and free messaging. We understand that cabin air quality is critical to feeling safe. The air on all of our aircraft is completely refreshed 10 to 30 times per hour. Air flows into the cabin from above each seat and is pulled out at floor level. This helps limit person-to-person airflow. Air is then refreshed with outside air and air that's been filtered through high-grade HEPA filters, which function in a similar way to filtration systems used in hospitals. These filters remove 99.99% of particles, including viruses. To be extra safe, we replace filters twice as often as recommended. Once you arrive at your destination, remember to allow some extra space while deplaning front to back, again, in smaller groups to reduce contact in the aisles. When you pick up your bag, you'll notice distancing markers and sanitizing stations throughout baggage claim, so you can stay safe even as you depart the airport. With all these added layers of protection, Delta is committed to a safer experience for your family and for ours, because without health and safety, we have nothing. But we're not stopping there. We're constantly updating best practices and improving our new standard of care based on expert medical advice. We hope to see you back on board very soon. Until then, safe travels.
Great, great video. So, I think it really is amazing the attention to detail that Delta has gone through to make sure that people feel comfortable. And, it's like you said, putting people first, and that's been very refreshing to see. So, many things I've been glad to see, like boarding the plane from starting in the back, coming forward. Like you said, having a new chief health officer, things that we hadn't thought of before the pandemic that are now getting put in place. So here's the big question for me. There have been a lot of planes grounded over the last 12 months. And we, in particular, are starting to see a surge in demand. The weather's getting warmer, more and more vaccines are getting rolled out. People are beginning to feel more comfortable, I think, getting back out there. So how quickly is Delta going to be able to get back to resuming, and I know it'll probably have to be a gradual process, but resuming what we would consider normal operations and normal airlift?
Yeah, I think normal is a tough word, and I think we all are in this new normal, but it's an exciting new normal because we're seeing the same thing, Tiffany, where if you look at our advances, our forward bookings, we're seeing actually fairly strong demand. Maybe not for travel next week, but for certainly travel in the summer. In fact, over the last 7 days, we've had 3 or 4 of our highest revenue days since last March, since this has started. So we're starting to see that path forward, and obviously vaccinations are a big part of that. As more and more are getting vaccinated, the comfort level to travel has increased. So all of that said, we're actually building a pretty robust schedule this summer. in anticipation of stronger demand. So the numbers fluctuate, but we're adding literally thousands of flights kind of every month from March to April, April to May, May to June, to take advantage and leverage this need for capacity. And we're doing it smartly. Obviously, areas are opening up a little bit differently. I live in New York, and we're still a little bit slow. So we've kind of halted a little bit of our growth in New York because we think it's going to be just a little bit longer. It's going to happen, and we're seeing it happen. But places like Florida, the Southwest, California, things that are starting to open, Salt Lake City for the end of ski season, we're adding capacity to meet that demand. So it's actually really exciting to see us rebuild the airline. And we also have flexibility to do it on an ad hoc basis. So this is where, we need Global Escape's help and our mutual customers, where if you're seeing demand, or if you think we need capacity in a certain location, let us know. This is exactly what we do, is we talk to our network team weekly to talk about routes that we might need to upgauge or add a flight, et cetera. So we are very open, and it takes about 30 days from the time that we say, yep, we should add a flight to when that's in service. And that's on an ad hoc basis. The good news is most of our schedule planning is done well in advance. And again, for this summer, we've been aggressive. We've got the pilots, we've got the flight attendants, we've got the aircraft. We're ready to move people again, which is great. And I know that everyone is really ready to get out on the road again.
Right. Well, we do, a fair amount of corporate travel as well at Global Escape. So I know our corporate travelers will be, thrilled they're seeing the safety measures and things. And I agree with you. I felt like when I was traveling, both instances over the last 3 months, I felt really almost safer in the airport and on the plane than I did in some of the places locally at home. And then the hospitality industry, I think as a whole, we are all ready to get out and explore the world again. And I think a lot of destinations are eager to start welcoming people again. So that part is exciting. And I agree with you. I think over the next 12 months, it's probably going to be one of the best times to travel because of the limited capacity and the excitement that everybody is sharing with getting back out there. So any idea on how long you think you guys will continue to block that middle seat? I'm sure this is one of those crystal ball questions that can't really truly be answered, but any inside tips on that?
Well, let's just say there's a lot of conversations going on right now about when to extend. Right now, I can guarantee through the end of April. Right. Beyond that would be just speculation. But I do think that it's measuring that demand capacity. And Dr. Ting obviously has a big voice here about how we do that, because eventually, and I'm not setting a timeline, but eventually we will start to walk away from blocking the middle seat. But again, it's going to be when it's safe to do so, when there's vaccines and the medical community is kind of guiding us that this is the best path forward. So more to come probably in the next few weeks. We'll be able to announce something. When we know, you'll know.
Okay. Now, the other thing I just wanted to throw out there is, do you think, or has Delta talked about, I know other destinations are considering requiring the vaccine for entry. Is this something that Delta has talked about as far as requiring a vaccine? I think I read that they're not necessarily requiring it for the employees. Talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So again, I think, and this is the one advantage of our chief medical officer is we also have a voice with our employees that talks about the efficacy, the safety of the vaccine. So we spent a lot of time over the last month really talking internally about the benefits of getting the vaccine. We are not forcing our employees. I don't think we can force our employees. We're obviously encouraging and using a fact-based approach. So much so that I mean, down in Georgia, right on our campus is the largest vaccine site in the state of Georgia, is in partnership with Delta and CVS, where we've kind of taken over the logistics. Logistics is something that we are very good at. So we're leveraging the private sector to help the vaccines. And mind you, this is not just for Delta employees. This is for all of Georgia that is eligible. So, we're just trying to do right by our communities as well. So I think that vaccines will be part. There's talk of a global passport or something. So we're having conversations with governments, with technology companies. We've been fairly tight-lipped because when we launch something, we want it to be truly impactful. So, for example, we're running COVID-free flights to Rome right now from Atlanta, which is requiring testing 72 hours. It requires a rapid test at the airport in Atlanta. It requires another rapid test when you arrive in Rome. But the benefit of all of that is when you get that third negative test, you walk out into the streets of Rome a free person. There's no quarantine. You can enjoy. You can do business. And then when you come back, it requires one test. So I mentioned that because I think that just evolves into vaccines kind of substituting for negative tests and having proof of that vaccine, some sort of QR code, where even the state of New York yesterday is loosening travel restrictions for those that have proof of vaccination. So you see some states that are looking at this as well. And we believe that federal governments, it will require the same. So we're trying to build the infrastructure that will support that from a technology standpoint so that it's easy for our employees and it's easier for our customers to understand the requirements that are necessary.
That's good to hear. I know that's been one of I think the biggest hurdles so far is, the global reach and there really needs to be a global protocol that is followed, that is consistent. And I think that's what's really going to begin to open things up tremendously when we see that happen. So, with Delta being such a global company, what are your thoughts on the return to some of these international destinations? So you're talking about some of these things where you guys are going into Rome with COVID-free flights. That's very encouraging. Are there other destinations that you guys are doing that with, or is this kind of a beta test and kind of working through that? Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, it's certainly a beta test. I mean, there's tests into Paris, there's tests into Amsterdam now. Italy was first, and we just needed someone to say yes. And then it was amazing how quickly other governments kind of lined up to see what is next. But we're incredibly optimistic about international travel this summer. Where if you look at our transatlantic network, our Latin network, obviously with the beaches, that's a little bit easier to understand. But if you think about Tel Aviv, we're starting number 2. Athens, we're back into Italy. Really, all of our destinations are returning for this year. So we believe that again, through vaccination programs, through technology, that borders will be open. The UK has a big date in April. I think it's April 12th, where they are starting to look at how they're going to open London to the world, because you've got your corporate customers, our mutual customers on the line. That's such a critical lane, whether it be JFK, Atlanta to London, but we need London open. So again, the UK is doing a tremendous job with their vaccination program. So there's optimism there that borders will open and open before Memorial Day. So again, fingers crossed that we continue to do everything we can from a health and safety standpoint, that we're all wearing our masks and doing our part so that we continue to see these rates decline, vaccinations go up, and then I think you'll see governments a lot more open to accepting each other's passengers.
That's right. I agree. Well, it's just such an honor to work with companies like Delta that have taken the health and safety of their customers and their employees so seriously. And, I think the whole world is ready to kind of get back to the new normal, whatever that normal is. And so I think, we all have to kind of do our part in helping to facilitate that, which is, like you said, if it requires wearing a mask or whatever it may be, we just want to see the planes up in the air again. So, I really appreciate you guys coming on today. We will be sharing the video more with our clients and our community. We appreciate everything you guys are doing to lead the efforts in the travel industry as a whole. Ultimately, you have to have the flights to get to the destination. The next step will be the destinations themselves coming up with their protocol, the hotels and resorts following suit, everybody really locking arms and working together. I think I read an article a couple of days ago that Merck is going to be working with Johnson & Johnson to produce the vaccine. And how refreshing after this past year to see competitors come together to solve a problem. And I think that's what we all want to see, is just kind of let's bring people back together. Let's get back out there and explore. I think for those of us in the travel industry, it's one of the reasons we love what we do so much, because we get to go and explore other cultures and places, and it really does create empathy and understanding. And so that's at our deeper level of why we do what we do. But we really appreciate you guys joining us today. We will definitely be in touch with any questions that didn't get answered. For any of you listening in, we will be back next week with our friends in Costa Rica. You can check our social media channels for the link to register for that event. As the vaccine continues to get rolled out, we just want to encourage everybody to really start planning now. Space is going to continue to be limited. Demand is continuing to grow. So the earlier you have your plans in place, the quicker you can get back to conquering your bucket list. Scott and Stephen, I really appreciate you guys joining us today, giving us a brief update. We appreciate your time. We appreciate all you're doing for the travel industry as a whole. Please pass along our thanks to everyone at the Delta company. Again, we are just so appreciative to work with such great partners. And anyone else that has any questions, reach out to us at Global Escapes. We are here to eliminate all the hurdles and help you get back out there as quickly as possible. And just remember, having a vacation date on your calendar will bring back some optimism, give you something to look forward to, and we want to be your trusted resource to help you do that. So thanks for tuning in today. Thanks, guys. We appreciate your contribution. Have a great day.
Perfect. Thank you. Be well, everyone.
Yes, you as well.
Thanks very much, Stephanie. Have a great afternoon.
You too. Bye-bye.